Okay, so you want to own a nail salon. A clean, bright little shop on a busy street corner, a loyal book of clients who come back every 2 weeks without being asked, a team of skilled technicians running stations while the money flows in. You set your own hours. You build something that is yours. That is the picture. That is what the beauty industry marketing materials are designed to make you believe. Here is what those materials do not show you. The technician who called in sick on a Saturday with 12 clients booked, the supply order that arrived wrong and cost you 3 days of rescheduling, the lease renewal where the landlord raised your rent by 30% because the neighborhood got popular, and the fact that your busiest month still barely covered payroll after you bought product, paid your processors, and wrote the check for liability insurance. Before talking about money, it is worth understanding what a nail salon actually is, because nail salon is a term that gets applied to at least 4 or 5 completely different business models that happen to share a product category. A budget walk-in shop runs high volume at low prices, turning chairs as fast as possible, and competing almost entirely on speed and cost. A full-service salon charges significantly more, books appointments, and sells an elevated experience with longer service times and a broader menu. A spa hybrid combines nail services with skincare, waxing, or massage, spreading revenue across multiple service lines, but also multiplying the staffing complexity. A luxury nail studio might see only 8 to 12 clients a day by design, with prices that reflect the exclusivity rather than the throughput. And a booth rental salon operates more like a landlord than a traditional employer, collecting flat fees from independent technicians rather than running payroll at all. These operate under fundamentally different models. While they may share a product category and licensing structure, they differ completely in their financial characteristics. The economics of a walk-in budget shop and a luxury appointment-only studio are as different as a fast food franchise and a fine dining restaurant, even if both call themselves nail salons. The number that shapes everything else before a single client walks through the door is the investment required to open your doors for operations. Building out a nail salon from raw commercial space is more expensive than most people expect, and the reason it surprises people is that the costs are structural. Nail salons produce chemical fumes from acrylics, gels, and polish removers, and most municipal codes require a dedicated ventilation system that exceeds standard HVAC requirements. A proper ventilation build-out for a mid-sized salon runs $12,000 to $35,000 depending on the size of the space and the local code requirements. Plumbing comes next. Every pedicure station requires its own plumbing connection. Each unit needs a water supply line and a drain. In a space not previously used as a salon, running those lines can cost $2,000 to $4,000 per chair, which means a 10-chair pedicure setup can cost $20,000 to $40,000 in plumbing alone before you buy the chairs themselves. Let's do the math on what a basic build-out actually looks like for a mid-sized salon. Say you are opening a shop with 8 manicure tables, 6 pedicure chairs, and a small reception area. Ventilation runs $20,000. Plumbing for the pedicure stations runs $24,000. The pedicure chairs themselves, commercial-grade units with functional pipe systems and upholstery that can handle daily use, cost $1,500 to $5,000 each, so 6 chairs puts you between $9,000 and $30,000 in equipment. Manicure tables and accompanying client chairs run $400 to $1,200 per station. Lighting, flooring, signage, mirrors, retail shelving, a point-of-sale system, and a reception desk add another $15,000 to $30,000 when you price them properly. Before rent, before product, before a single license fee, a new build-out lands somewhere between $80,000 and $150,000 for a space this size. Now here is the trap that catches most first-time owners before they ever run a single client. They find a space that was previously a nail salon. The prior tenant left in a hurry, the ventilation is already installed, the plumbing is roughed in, and the landlord is offering the space at a discount. More often, the reason the prior tenant left the equipment behind is that the equipment is at the end of its life. The ventilation system does not meet current code, and the plumbing is corroded from years of chemical exposure. The lease is the next place where new owners get into serious trouble, and it is the contract most first-time salon owners do not read carefully enough. Commercial leases for nail salons carry a set of terms that residential renters have never encountered. Triple net leases, which are common in retail strip centers, mean you pay base rent plus your proportional share of property taxes, building insurance, and common area maintenance. In a triple net structure, your monthly cost is not a fixed number. It floats with whatever the landlord's operating costs look like that year. A landlord whose insurance premium spiked because of regional claims data passes that increase down to every tenant in the building, and you have very little recourse. Base rent for a nail salon in a mid-market strip center runs $18 to $45 per square foot per year. A 1,200 square foot salon at $30 per square foot is $36,000 in annual base rent, or $3,000 a month, before the triple net additions. But here is what the lease number does not tell you. You are paying that rent whether the salon is open or not, whether your technicians showed up or not, and whether you had 15 clients this week or 50. Rent is a fixed cost in a business where revenue is almost entirely variable. That mismatch between fixed expenses and fluctuating income is the central tension of the salon business model, and it is the one that destroys owners who did not plan for slow seasons, sick staff, or unexpected closures. A salon that needs to generate $6,000 in revenue per week just to cover its fixed costs has almost no margin for error in staffing or client volume. The staffing math is where the salon economics get genuinely complicated. In most nail salons, technicians are either employees or independent contractors, and the distinction matters enormously. An employee on payroll costs you their hourly wage or commission plus payroll taxes, workers' compensation insurance, and potentially benefits. A commission-based employee in a nail salon typically earns 40 to 50% of whatever service revenue they generate. That sounds straightforward. It is not. When the salon is slow, you are still paying minimum wage for hours where a technician is sitting idle. When the salon is busy, a 45% commission split leaves you 55 cents of every dollar to cover rent, product, utilities, processing fees, and your own time. A technician generating $800 in a week earns $360. The salon keeps $440. Out of that $440, subtract product cost at roughly 8 to 12% of revenue. Subtract credit card processing at 2 to 3%, subtract your share of utilities and supplies, and a busy week starts looking considerably less impressive. Independent contractors solve some of those problems and create different ones. A booth rental arrangement collects a flat weekly fee from each technician, somewhere between $150 and $400 per station per week, depending on the market, and treats the technician as a fully independent operator. The salon provides the chair, the utilities, and sometimes the supplies. The technician builds their own client list, sets their own hours, and keeps all their service revenue after paying the booth fee. For the salon owner, booth rental converts a variable payroll into a more predictable fixed income stream. You no longer control the schedule, the service quality, the pricing, or the client experience. A booth renter who decides to leave takes their entire client book with them, and there is nothing in the legal structure that prevents it. Let's look at what revenue actually looks like at the ground level. The average nail salon visit in the United States generates somewhere between $35 and $85, depending on the service mix and the market. A basic manicure in a mid-tier salon runs $25 to $45. A gel manicure runs $45 to $75. A full pedicure runs $40 to $70. A set of acrylic extensions runs $60 to $120. If a technician is fully booked, handling one client every hour for 8 hours in a standard service mix, they might generate $450 to $650 in daily revenue. That is a productive day. The problem is that fully booked every single day is not how nail salons actually operate. Industry data from the Professional Beauty Association suggests that most nail salons run at somewhere between 55 and 70% chair utilization on average across the week. Here is the product cost structure that most owners underestimate before they open. Gel polishes, acrylics, top coats, base coats, nail files, buffers, sanitizing solutions, foil, wraps, cuticle oils, and disposable liners for pedicure bowls add up continuously. Product cost in a well-managed nail salon should run 8 to 12% of service revenue. In a poorly managed one, it runs 15 to 20% because of waste, theft, and over-application. On $100,000 in annual service revenue, the difference between a 10% product cost is $8,000. That is a full month of rent in many markets. Managing product inventory is not a minor administrative detail. It is a direct line into the profitability of ever. Service performed. Now add the regulatory layer, because nail salons operate under a licensing and inspection regime that varies by state but is never light. Every technician in the salon needs a valid cosmetology or nail technician license, which requires between 300 and 600 hours of school and a state board exam. The salon itself needs a separate facility license. Health inspectors check sanitation protocols, autoclave documentation, and product storage. In states like California, New York, and Florida, the enforcement environment is significantly more active than in others. A failed inspection can mean a temporary closure, a fine, or both. A salon that has to close for 3 days for a re-inspection loses those 3 days of revenue permanently. The additional revenue lines that survive salon ownership are the ones most new owners overlook until they are already struggling. Retail product sales, nail polishes, cuticle care sets, hand creams sold at the front desk can carry margins of 40 to 60% and require no additional labor. A salon doing $120,000 in annual service revenue that converts just 5% of clients to product purchases adds $6,000 in high-margin income without adding a single appointment. Membership programs, where clients pay a flat monthly fee for a set number of services, convert irregular clients into guaranteed monthly revenue and smooth out the cash flow volatility that makes salon finances so difficult to manage. Some salons charge a small booking depot, sit to reduce no-show rates, which in the appointment-based model can run as high as 10 to 15% of scheduled bookings and represent a significant revenue drain. The owner's time is the last cost that never appears on any pro forma, but shapes the actual economics of the business more than almost anything else. Most nail salon owners, especially in the first 2 to 3 years, are not just managing a business, they are also working the floor, filling in when technicians call in sick, handling the supply orders, managing the social media presence, processing payroll, and dealing with the landlord. The math on a salon doing $250,000 in annual gross revenue sounds attractive until you subtract $50,000 in rent and common area costs, $30,000 in payroll for support staff, $25,000 in technician commissions on top of your own labor, $12,000 in product, $8,000 in utilities and insurance, $4,000 in processing fees, and the cost of your own 50-hour weeks. What remains is the margin that justifies the risk, and it is almost always smaller than the revenue number suggested it would be at the beginning.